Hello, I'm back in the same place where I made my first video. Oh, the weather is so different. I made the first one during a heat wave. Now it is grey and raining in Ireland, but I've had a few things on my mind and I wrote them down because as much as I ramble, I don't normally have, I have a topic, but I don't speak on it consistently or things go through it. So I have my little book of kind of what's happened and what's been on my mind. The healing process is getting easier, mainly because I'm used to being alone. Like, I didn't realize how not different this is. Well, it is different, but like in the grand scheme of things, it's not that different. Today I applied to one of my dream jobs. It's to do with architecture, and it's in a different country, and I really hope I get it. And normally it says when you're driving out of a city and it's raining, the city's gonna miss you. So maybe there's an element of truth to that. Maybe that's Ireland preparing for me to leave if I get this opportunity. I feel really guilty applying to the things that I want, because when I was with him, me having my big dreams were frowned upon just because it mean I'd possibly leave him, either have to do long distance or break up with him. Or he'd break up with me, to be honest. That's probably what was gonna happen. So I kind of stopped looking and having those dreams and I changed them. That was kind of what my first video was about. And anyone now who I meet, they keep telling me I'm free, I'm free, I'm free. I can do whatever I want. That I should just go right now and stuff. I don't feel secure in doing that without having at least a job. But sure, look, yeah, there is a lot of guilt in this last week that I've been feeling. And by guilt, I mean thinking of things that I did during the relationship. I feel guilt for me as in terms of not letting myself and me do what I wanted to do, but also the guilt in me staying in the relationship just to make it work. And I'll get into that a bit later, but there was a lot of begging that I did, and that's embarrassing. It's embarrassing, and I feel guilty for begging for stuff. Begging we'll move on to next, but my next month is filled with plans. This month has been a month where I haven't had a lot of plans planned. They've been mostly spontaneous. And they're great and fun to be doing. He chose a month where we had nothing planned to do. He could make space for his friends even though there was so much space for his friends. With those plans, one of them is going back to a city that has stolen my heart. And that's Copenhagen, and anyone who knows me knows about Copenhagen. But he bought the tickets before he broke up with me for us to go to Copenhagen on my birthday. And through the breakup process, he gave me the tickets so I could go. Obviously, I'm taking them. I love Copenhagen. There's this artist, James Turrell, and his there's an exhibition that opened one of his domes, and it's in Copenhagen. It's a 3-hour train ride from Copenhagen. It's in Aarhus, I'm pretty sure. Probably pronouncing it wrong. I feel guilty going to that because I know I will feel happiness within that exhibition. But the utmost grief, the amount of grief I'm going to feel. Mainly because before I met this person, I'd very much so given up on love. I was in horrible relationships. I met this person and the young little girl inside me immediately made a Pinterest board for marriage. With like 3 question marks, but she made it. 20-year-old Helen made it with 14-year-old Helen. I do look back on it and I do think, oh, how funny, how silly, like, you thought it was gonna last, you had all these emotions, blah-de-blah-de-blah. There was a lot of talk about promise rings and engagement rings, and I fully believe he was future faking. It was a very big topic within the relationship. He seemed so sure, so I believed it. But this place, in my head, would have been the best and the most magical place to feel love. Get proposed to was kind of in my head, if I'm being quite honest. Who mods a fucking mini? So yeah, I feel guilty putting myself through that in a way because I know I'll hurt a part of myself. Some type of version of myself. I know I'll hurt her. Not as much as my ex did. And I'm also now able to say my ex, which is cool, which is good for me. I embarrass myself a lot. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna get there and cry. I'm gonna cry my little heart out. But then also maybe it's what I need at the same time. Next chapter, move on. Book was unwritten. Whatever. I have written down here, I thought love would prosper, but a co-worker said to me love is not enough in some cases. Now I'm realizing it wasn't enough. It was not enough. And my view of my ex was very tainted. The more I look back and the more feelings I have about it, with us not getting one of the apartments that we wanted, he seemed relieved, actually, instead of sad. So, he never wanted it at all. Never wanted it at all with me. I felt like a tropical bird that people collect and then put into a cage. I think my engine is still on and I don't want to ruin my car battery. And I feel guilty now. For the last 3 weekends I've gone out clubbing. Once in England, once by myself, and then just yesterday. One with the same friend. I didn't feel guilty about drinking a bottle of wine at 10 a.m. and falling to the floor in the kitchen and sleeping for 7 hours and throwing up all over myself. Didn't feel guilty about that because it was almost like I was expelling a demon. Got out a few times. Granted, I had a lot of fun and stuff like that. I was very tired yesterday. I really didn't want to go out. Friend got me out. She probably needed it more than I did, so I let her have that. Have that good time with me. Get cute photos of herself to post on the Instagram. I feel guilty about doing it, even though I know for a fact he's probably doing that as well. And I have to realize that because he was doing that within the relationship. Especially when I couldn't, when I was doing my masters, he'd go out and he'd lie about going to the gym and just go to the pub or to the club and not update me, which was annoying. It made me feel crazy because why are we lying? Made me feel paranoid about a lot of things, which I would have never been paranoid about before. I love clubbing. I love clubbing with a boyfriend especially. You get to dance with someone you love and be cute and hot in the club. That's great. That's a great time. I hate when strangers talk to me when I'm out. Even though I asked him to go out clubbing, just us two, he went with his friends and invited me. And that's how that sentence worked. It wasn't that he planned it with me and then his friends also tagged along because they were available, but it was he was going out with his friends and he invited me. I felt like a person that was just there. So now when I go clubbing, it's like, oh, I wasn't invited, even though you don't need to be invited to go clubbing by yourself. But I feel guilty for allowing myself to enjoy it now because I couldn't back then because of feeling second best all the time. Yeah, so I feel guilty about doing that. And guilt, I think, is a perfectly fine feeling to have if you haven't hurt someone, I think. I don't know. Maybe I'm getting the word, like, maybe I'm not understanding guilt too much. Yeah, I feel happy, and then when I'm happy, I get a wave of like, oh fuck, I should be mourning this person a lot more. But I think within these videos, I am doing my mourning, if I'm being honest. I think I also have here, I feel guilty for going out clubbing a month after the breakup. For a month after that breakup, I was only working, I was only sleeping, only painting, writing, making videos, talking to people that put my head back on straight after everything. Some people really helped shatter the illusion that I had of him. I don't know, I just needed to realize that maybe I wasn't the love of my life, or the love of my life wouldn't have done those things to me. Or a lot of people are happier now for me. I've had one of my closest friends really discipline my actions, or disciplining previous actions that I was doing, and defending him without even knowing who he was, which kind of speaks about how highly I talked of him to my friends. So even on the breakup, babe, they were on your side. Hope that helps the ego. But they also shattered the illusion of the bad things he's done, the bad things I've done, which I've done a few. I know that. The guilt, even though I spent the time by myself and with people who support me for that month of healing. And I think this healing journey is gonna take a long time. And I also feel like if I don't move or get my career sorted and make up a new life soon enough, or when I'm ready to open myself up to new friendships even, something bad might happen, and I don't know if I'm able to stop that because there are so many signs from the universe. I was thinking about car crashes because I was very stupid on the road 2 weeks ago, and on the way here I was thinking about that, trying to drive safer. The GPS on the maps was like, oh, car crash in 900 meters. I was like, oh Jesus Christ. But there was none. It was like a phantom alert, I guess, or it was there earlier and I missed it. So I started feeling really guilty about life and having one. Like, if I'm not doing something good to help someone or to make an impact, what's the reason for me to have this life? Those are the cutest dogs. And that guilt kind of creeps into the guilt of not being able to do something good. Obviously, the opposite of good is evil. And I think to myself, do I feel like an evil person because I'm reactive? I'm fiercely protective and loyal of the people I love, and I try help them and do things to them, but there comes to a point where I get reactive about it. You know I won't care about anything if I don't have a reaction, or you know I don't care about you if I don't have a reaction about you or something that you're doing. If that makes sense. I feel like people have experienced a person like that in their lives, and that's who I am. Maybe just going back to the point of feeling guilty that I'm not making an impact. Me having reactions within the relationship and outside the relationship and towards my friend and family. Like, am I mean, angry, and evil in general because I care, and the only way I can show my emotions is through anger because that's all I've known? I've been angry for 24 fucking years. What's new? I've been angry and anxious. There's two words to describe me, angry and anxious. I've been having thoughts like that, and then at the same time I'm trying to fill myself with positivity, because if I keep speaking so negatively, that will become my reality. But I think I'm just being your typical thought daughter, having thoughts, me and my journal, me and my books, me and my videos. I'm kind of being a mean, reactive person. Like, my reactions go as far in the good direction as well. Take that with a pinch of salt or whatever, but I don't know if I said this story before, but when I collected my mom from the airport, she told me I was so pretty. And I was like, well, he didn't leave me because I was ugly. Unless he thought I was, then that's a whole different situation. Towards the end, the only kind of compliments I got were, I found it really sexy when you called me hot. Instead of, I'm really glad you're attracted to me as much as I'm attracted to you. No, it was, I found it sexy that you called me hot that one time during this one moment. Okay, thank you. Do you want to call me beautiful or something? Do you want to call me radiant? Do you want to call me a ball of sunshine? Not a ball of sunshine. I mean, I am at times. I just have to feel safe and loved, which I have not for the past year. For being honest with ourselves, I've become a shell. A big shell. Scrap that. Not a shell. I've become so closed off. I've become so protective of myself. I'm like, I don't even let the person that supposedly loved me, right, in to help me, if that makes sense. So my mom's comment calling me beautiful was triggering, I guess. I might move on to the begging part of this fucking video. Sorry, like, I feel like I'm in a very weird mood. Normally I'm like chatty. Maybe I am chatty, who knows. At the start of the year, I basically told him I feel like I'm being begged to be loved. And begged to be loved the right way, in the way that makes me feel loved, not in the way he shows love. But I had to beg for plans, I had to beg to hang out, I had to beg for a text. Sorry, that just randomly stopped recording. That's fun. But yeah, I'll go back to the begging. Beg for text, beg for replies, beg for some sort of communication. I had to beg to be understood. I had to beg for reassurance. I prayed to every god that I knew. Him to understand who I was deep down, and I tried showing him and telling him and stuff. I did have to beg. I had to beg my other boyfriends as well, but as much as all these bad things have happened, there have been good memories, obviously. I had to basically... I also realized this is the most unflattering thing of myself. Just had a double chin this whole time. I had to beg for a lot. I had to beg for him to want to talk to me, beg for updates, beg to know what's in his head and what he's thinking. He was always so mad at me for doing that because he was like, I don't think anything. Okay. Then when you were breaking up with me, he was saying you were thinking about it a lot, never told me. I had to beg for communication. I had to beg for him to understand my side of the story. Beg for compliments near the end. Whatever, that doesn't matter. I begged my other relationships too, and I think I kind of just stuck with all of it because I, in my head, was like, well, he's not as bad as my other two relationships, so I'm gonna stick it out. Like, this is what love is, even though he isn't loving me the way I would like him to. He isn't making me feel safe or comfortable with the lying and the hiding information, not telling me the truth about people and me having to figure it out from somebody else. There are times where he was better than my exes, worse than my exes, the exact same as my exes, and the complete different from my exes. And what was different, I think, about him was my emotions towards him, the amount of love I tried putting in to him. At least I got some form of communication and answers near the end, but this is just me searching for my own. Like, there is no closure. My closure now is slowly figuring out all these little events and moments and seeing him relieved about us not getting the apartments and never fulfilling his promises. Like, he could have just kept his mouth fucking shut. Very different feelings today. I feel guilty for not being able to love him the way he wanted, for not being able to leave him alone, because that's what he wanted, even though that's not, whatever. That doesn't matter, whatever. Not even arsed about that one. Maybe the closure would find me in other people that I meet, and I won't have to beg someone to understand me or beg someone to tell me about themselves, because all I had to do was guess. And I'm guessing now. I'm guessing a lot of things now. It's not good for my brain. There's guilt in all the good things that I'm doing. That's kind of hard to carry, because he left me very little things to think about, which in a way gave me so much material, but it's fine. I'm getting over it slowly. Or maybe I never will, and that's okay too. That was what one A4 page of little bullet notes was. I'm gonna move. I'm gonna build my dream career. I'm gonna have people that like me for who I am, and not only want me when it's convenient or on their terms. Yeah. Bye.